Brazil shocker. Bolsonaro arrested amid dramatic prison escape plot fears.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily News English podcast. I'm Peter.
And I'm Anna. We're so glad you're joining us today.
Our goal, as always, is to help you improve your English by discussing interesting and important news stories from around the world.
Exactly. We break down the headlines, explain new words, and help you understand global events, all while practicing your English skills.
Anna, what a headline to start with! Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, has been taken into police custody.
Wow, that's big news. And it's for an alleged plot to avoid his 27-year prison term, right?
That's right. He was arrested on Saturday morning, just days before he was scheduled to begin serving that long sentence.
So he was already sentenced to prison, but he hadn't started his term yet?
Precisely. He was convicted last September for plotting to illegally remain in power after losing the 2022 election.
A 27-year sentence is incredibly long. What exactly was this plot to remain in power about?
Well, he was accused of trying to overturn the election results, similar to some situations we've seen elsewhere in the world. It was a serious charge.
And now this arrest for allegedly trying to escape. That's quite a dramatic twist, isn't it?
Absolutely, Anna. He was actually under house arrest, meaning he was confined to his home, but he had to wear an ankle monitoring bracelet.
Ah, yes, an electronic device to track his location. So what happened with that?
The Supreme Court Justice overseeing his case, Alexander de Moraes, said Bolsonaro's ankle monitor was violated early Saturday morning.
Ah, Justice de Moraes. Isn't he the one who has faced some significant international scrutiny?
Yes, that's right, Anna. He's actually been sanctioned under the Magnitsky Act by the U.S. government.
The Magnitsky Act? What does that entail for a judge?
Well, it's an economic sanction imposed on individuals accused of serious human rights violations. For Moraes, it includes a ban on financial transactions with U.S. citizens and companies, asset freezes, and restrictions on digital services.
And what are the accusations against him that led to this?
He's accused of a campaign of censorship and arbitrary detentions, including against former President Bolsonaro himself.
Wow, so the very judge overseeing Bolsonaro's case has faced these accusations? That's quite a twist.
Indeed. The decision was made by the Donald Trump administration and the U.S. Treasury, who specifically stated that Moraes was responsible for an illegal witch hunt against U.S. and Brazilian citizens and companies.
That adds a whole new layer of complexity to this story. So back to the ankle monitor. Violated, meaning he tampered with it or broke the rules of his house arrest.
Exactly. The justice believed Bolsonaro was trying to break the monitor to help him escape.
That makes him what we call a flight risk, someone likely to run away.
Exactly. The fears of an escape attempt were heightened by a few things.
Such as? I read something about a demonstration.
Yes, there were reports of a planned large protest outside Bolsonaro's home, organized by his eldest son.
Oh, I see. A big crowd could cause confusion and make it easier for someone to disappear.
That's what Justice de Moraes thought. He even said it could reach a large scale and last for days.
So the authorities saw the protest as a potential cover for an escape rather than just a peaceful demonstration?
That's the court's perspective. There was also concern he might try to flee to a foreign embassy.
An embassy? Why an embassy?
Well, some embassies can offer what's called political asylum, which is protection granted by another country.
And they specifically mentioned the U.S. Embassy, which is not far from his home.
Yes, it's about an 8-mile drive, which could be covered quickly.
Wow! So the justice clearly thought Bolsonaro was serious about trying to avoid prison.
He did. De Moraes even mentioned that other political allies of Bolsonaro had already left Brazil to avoid jail.
That definitely adds context to why they might be worried. It's like history repeats itself.
A perfect idiom for this situation. Now, here's where it gets even more complicated.
Oh, tell me more.
Bolsonaro's former press advisor, Fabio Weingarten, who is a lawyer, challenged the court's claim.
So his team is saying the ankle monitor wasn't tampered with?
That's right. Weingarten insisted on social media that the device was functioning normally 9 hours later.
So, we have conflicting information from the Supreme Court and Bolsonaro's legal team. That's a real he said, she said situation.
Exactly. And Weingarten also said Bolsonaro was just having dinner, took medication, and went to bed early without his sons around.
It seems like there's a lot of back and forth about the facts.
Definitely. It also reminds us of his ally, former U.S. President Donald Trump, who has called their cases very similar.
Yes, Trump even imposed a tariff on Brazil in response to Bolsonaro's legal issues. It's a highly political situation.
It truly is. This arrest is a dramatic and unexpected twist in the final stage of a long and divisive criminal trial.
And his supporters are expected to demonstrate outside the federal police headquarters.
Yes, they insist on his innocence and see him as a martyr, a person who suffers for a cause.
So this isn't just a legal battle, it's a huge political spectacle.
Absolutely. The Supreme Court will review the arrest decision in an extraordinary session on Monday.
So, this story is far from over. It's just getting started, really.
Precisely. It's a truly complex situation with many layers.
Now is a great time to pause and check out the vocabulary for this story. Peter, let's break down some of the key terms from this story to help our listeners.
Excellent idea, Anna. What's our first word?
Let's start with taken into police custody. What does that mean?
Well, if someone is taken into police custody, it simply means they have been arrested by the police. They are under police control.
Got it. So Bolsonaro was arrested. How about alleged? We heard alleged plot.
Alleged means that something is claimed to be true, but it hasn't been proven yet. It's a statement that needs to be verified.
Perfect. So, an alleged plot is a claimed plot. Next, prison term.
A prison term is the length of time someone is sentenced to spend in prison as punishment for a crime. In Bolsonaro's case, it's 27 years.
That's a very long term. And he was under house arrest.
House arrest means a person is confined to their own home instead of going to prison. They can't leave their house without permission.
And to make sure he stayed home, he had an ankle monitoring bracelet.
Exactly. That's an electronic device worn on the ankle that allows authorities to track a person's location, usually used for house arrest.
And the bracelet was violated.
To violate, in this context, means to break or disregard a rule or agreement, like tampering with the device or going somewhere you're not allowed.
Which made him a flight risk.
Yes, a flight risk is someone who is considered likely to try to escape or flee to avoid legal proceedings.
We also talked about seeking political asylum.
Political asylum is the protection granted by one country to someone who has left their home country as a political refugee.
And we used the phrase dramatic twist.
A dramatic twist is an unexpected and often exciting or shocking turn of events in a story or situation.
One more. Convict.
A convict is a person who has been found guilty of a crime and is serving a sentence in prison.
Great explanations, Peter. That really helps clarify the language in the news. Now it's your turn, our dear listeners. We've discussed a lot about the situation in Brazil. What are your thoughts on political leaders facing legal charges after leaving office? Do you think it strengthens or weakens democracy? Let us know.
To quickly summarize today's story, Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro was arrested over the weekend. He was already sentenced to a 27-year prison term for plotting to illegally stay in power.
He was under house arrest with an ankle monitor. But authorities feared he was trying to escape, possibly by tampering with the monitor or using a planned protest as a distraction to flee to an embassy.
We also learned about the Supreme Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes, who is overseeing this case, and his sanction under the Magnitsky Act by the U.S. government. His former press advisor denies the allegations, claiming the monitor was working. The Supreme Court will review his arrest on Monday, so this story is still unfolding.
Thank you for joining us on the Daily News English podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion and learned some new English vocabulary.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to our channel for more English learning content, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on today's topic. We love hearing from you.
We'll be back soon with more news and English learning fun. Bye for now.
See you next time.